Hello, and welcome to both this lecture and HIS 4406, History of the New South. If you want to follow along, please have a copy of your syllabus available and be prepared to look at various pages of the Canvas shell for our class. What follows is a look at these four topics: understanding your syllabus, class policies of importance, two options for your research project, and what to look for in that class Canvas shell. The first topic is understanding your syllabus. But first things first, I am the disembodied voice you're hearing. I'm Dr. Martin Olaf. This is a photo of me on a cold September day in Montgomery, Alabama, just a few years ago. You can find out more about me through the Canvas shell and my personal website. But here's my contact information. My home away from home is my office, room 221, Everett Hall on the Troy-Dothan campus. My office phone is 334-983-6556, extension 21327. And my email is molliff@troy.edu. I'm usually in my office between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 8 until noon on Friday, but that's not always the case. If you call, please leave a clear message and enunciate your phone number. If I can't understand the numbers, I can't call you back. It's easiest to catch me by email because I check it frequently. Troy Online Policy allows me 24 hours to reply, but I know you need answers faster than that, so I do my best to get back with you quickly. Let's look at your syllabus. The first thing to know is that the syllabus is the source of policies for this class. I include a statement to this effect on the first page. Policies on the syllabus can be overridden only by university-wide policies that I somehow did not include or made some kind of mistake about. This is to say that other professors and even the chancellor are not in charge of this class. At the same time, the syllabus is not a contract between us, for college is not a mere transaction. Rather, the syllabus is a guideline about the structure and requirements of the course, and you and I have a collegial relationship. You're not paying for a degree, but for my guidance and expertise. Your degree documents that you have navigated a sufficient number of such relationships and have learned a bunch of stuff. In addition to the policies the syllabus spells out, it includes a number of components by reference that have the same power as if they appear on the syllabus itself. These components are student expectation statement, the Troy plagiarism policy, and you should really read this one as you will be quizzed on it, a section on Troy online policies and procedures, the student handbook, the Oracle, and the current issue of the undergraduate catalog. Now let's look at the way that I've structured the syllabus. First is the Canvas syllabus page that has a truncated version that is printable. But if you want the full meal deal, there's a link from that Canvas course syllabus page to the full printable syllabus. It is this syllabus to which I now refer. You can see from this slide the various sections. The introduction is the first page. Then comes class-specific information and policies. Next, the course schedule, which is the largest section of the syllabus. There is a one-page table that provides an overview of topics and exercises, followed by a much more detailed schedule with pretty much everything you need to know week by week, module by module. This section includes all readings, visual lectures, and exercises. Of course, everyone is interested in how I compute your grade. So there's a section with all exercises listed, along with the file titles you must use and the weights of each exercise. Last is a relatively long section providing instruction for the larger exercises, that is your exams, research proposal, and research paper, followed by my list of characteristics shared by successful papers, a kind of rubric, if you will, and advice about what research topics will and will not fly. Remember, you may choose your own research topic in the sense that I do not assign them, but I would be irresponsible to allow you to run wild, which likely will lead you to produce a substandard paper. So I will approve your topics or will work with you to hone your topic into acceptability. The time has come for us to examine some specific class policies. You have one required textbook, Link's Southern Crucible, Volume 2. Although I have some problems with how he covers some of the topics, he provides a reasonable overview for a much more modest price than more in-depth texts. Furthermore, Link cites his sources in footnotes. Not doing so is a deal breaker for me, as it implies that the author is the sole source of information and interpretation, which just ain't so. Your textbook is available from the Troy online bookstore, but you have to access the link from the Canvas version of the syllabus. I can't get the link to work from the digital version of the full printable syllabus. Sorry. I also recommend that you secure Turabian's A Manual for Writers. It is the appropriate style sheet for this class and most other history classes as well. Historians use Turabian rather than MLA or APA, and no matter how much you wish scholars would just agree on one form of citation, that's not going to happen. Don't waste your money on any Turabian edition earlier than the 8th, and if you're buying new, the 8th and 9th cost the same. You might have a copy of Turabian left from your HIS 3375 class. If you've not taken 3375, we need to talk. Turabian is not necessarily available from the Troy online bookseller, but you can try if you want. As I've said before, your syllabus and Canvas class shell deliver content via modules. There are usually 2 modules per week, though some might have 1 and others 3. Each module covers a topic and contains an overview and learning objective, which you should read. They don't take long and they'll let you know what you're seeking. Each module has required readings and a list of readings from which you should choose one more to read. Sometimes this means there's a fair amount of reading in a week. Each module also has a video lecture like this one, or a film I ask you to watch. These provide an overview of some kind and access non-reading learning styles. Finally, whenever there's an exercise or 2 in a week, each module has links to those. Be sure you read the instructions for each exercise, especially the discussion boards that I really don't talk about elsewhere. One thing to remember is that weeks open on Thursdays at midnight Central Time. Then they'll be finished 10 days later at midnight on Sunday. I tend to open weeks 1 at a time, though I'll probably open week 9 at the same time as week 8. Module information will not close, but exercises due at the end of any particular week will. Deadlines are firm, so be aware of all due dates. Drop dead time to submit an exercise is 11:59 p.m. Central on the due date, usually a Sunday, except for exam 2 and your final paper due on a Friday. Here are the exercises and weights that determine your course grade. A quiz on this introduction and on plagiarism. This is a small multiple choice quiz that you can take multiple times. There's no reason to score less than a 100%. I ask you to complete 2 discussion boards focused on your research project. The first asks you to think out loud about your research topic and some research questions that come from it. The second asks you to summarize your paper. Since you've not written your paper yet, these are speculative, but be as rigorous as you can. Be sure to post first, then reply to at least one other post. Go beyond encouragement or expressing an interest in the other person's topic. Dig in and help out. What works? What doesn't? Offer other sources. You'll have 2 exams, one in week 4, the other due in week 9. I have provided a module with information about each exam, including a set of questions. I'll draw a subset of those questions and ask you to write on 2 of that subset for your exam. I suggest you download those questions as soon as you can. As you work through the modules, begin outlining your answers. Treat your exam like a small term paper. Introduction, body, conclusion, cite your sources correctly, no bibliography needed. See the instructions in your syllabus and in the modules. You also have a research project that consists of a proposal and a paper. I have posted instructions and a set of short lectures about how to deal with some aspects of your paper in a module in our Canvas shell. I know that the proposal will be speculative, so it's okay if your paper strays a bit. Once you decide on a direction, don't change your topic without consulting me. I must approve such a change. Finally, you have a research paper that we'll talk about now. You have a couple of options: a content paper or a historiography, also called a literature review. Your first option in research papers is the content paper, which you know as the standard term paper written about a topic. This paper must be within the time frame and geographical limits of the course, and rather than merely telling a story, it should answer a research question you pose using the claim, assertions, evidence model. You've heard this called the thesis-driven paper. If you choose this, you still have to discuss some of the historical literature on the topic, especially what authorities influenced you and where your own interpretation fits with those other historians. Concerning evidence, any narrative you construct should be evidence to support your claim, and you should put it into context. You'll probably do this anyway. The hallmark of this kind of paper is that it relies on primary sources. Now, you usually find some books and articles or websites and cull factoids from them. Really, those secondary sources are best used for their interpretation, that is your lit review, and your paper stands on primary sources. Given limits on time and other resources, you might have to rely on those factoids, but try to find contemporary writings from participants as much as possible. Your second choice is a historiographic paper, also called a literature review. It does not tell a story about events, but analyzes what other historians have written about a topic. This kind of paper also requires a claim, assertions, evidence model, but the books, articles, and websites you use are your primary sources. You are analyzing what those historians have written. You also find historians' interpretations in the introduction and conclusions of their work, whether those are articles or books, and your purpose is to compare and contrast those interpretations. This is not necessarily an easy paper to write because you might not be used to it, but it is worthwhile. If you've done book or article reviews and not merely reports, you do have some experience. We'll talk more about this kind of paper individually. Now let's head into the home stretch and talk about the Canvas class shell, with which you are probably already familiar. Here we have your view of the HIS 4406 shell in the Canvas Learning Management System. To the left is the course menu or course content area. It allows you to navigate to the areas you need to succeed. The cardinal colored bar tells you what page you're on. In this case, it's the home page. Clicking on any of the titles will take you to that page. Let's click on the modules link. Clicking that link produces this modules page. You see 3 modules here: Research Project Info and Access, Exam Info, and Module 1, Introduction and Reconstruction in the South. The Exam Info and Research Project modules are open all term. Weekly content modules will open at midnight Central Time on Thursdays, and all links will operate until midnight Central Time 10 days later. Modules will not close, but links to exercises will, so get your work in on time and scroll down for the newest module. Notice that modules have submodules, each one to retrieve information and exercises. Whenever there are exercises, they will also have their own home in the weekly module list. You can see the autobiography, a discussion board exercise, and the introduction and plagiarism quiz here. These provide one of 2 ways to access the exercises. The other is through the appropriate link in the course menu to the left under Assignments or Discussions. So let me summarize. HIS 4406 covers the U.S. South from the end of the Civil War to the 21st century. In that time, the U.S. South industrialized and diversified its main economic activity, agriculture, but did so very slowly, often driven by reaction to forces outside its control. Additionally, changes in the South have been limited by the strength or weakness of white supremacy. Our discussion today has been about how this class operates. Your syllabus, with the documents it includes by reference, is the sole source of policy for our class. You have 1 required text, and I recommend that you secure a copy of Turabian. You have a number of graded exercises, a quiz, 2 discussion boards, 2 exams, and a research project consisting of a proposal and a final paper. I expect you to do your work in good faith, to be mindful about it, to do it thoroughly, and to do it completely. Your course schedule mirrors the Canvas modules, listing all the resources necessary to accomplish each week's lessons. Finally, the course shell in the Canvas Learning Management System contains a number of sub-areas that you should spend a few minutes exploring. Of particular importance is the modules link that takes you to where your informational content lives. That sums it up. Contact me via email or Canvas message as you need. I will send out at least 1 announcement via Canvas per week to stay in touch. So this ends the lecture. Thank you for your attention and have a great term.